why teaching? Why is that important? Welcome in. It's another edition of Mornings on Main Street in southern Middle Tennessee. I'm Chris Yow.
I'm Scott Stewart.
And we are excited to be with you. We've got a fantastic show planned for you. A lot coming your way from southern Middle Tennessee. Scott's got a great feature on the powwow coming up this weekend. That's going to be fantastic. I've spoken with Columbia Mayor Chaz about what's going on in Muletown, so plenty to get to. But first, before we do any of that, we're going to tell you what's in this week's papers in the wrap. In Main Street Murray this week, you can find a great story on The Well, a fantastic nonprofit organization focused on helping to feed those who are in need in and around Murray County, also in Williamson County as well. There's a great feature on them. You can also find a great story on, we've got these two young men, two teenagers who have written sci-fi. I'm not sure if they're graphic novels but they are two young teens who have written these fantastic sci-fi novels. So I'm looking forward to reading about that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
Playhouse. The Packard Playhouse is brand new in Columbia, and they're showing Annie, or they showed Annie this past weekend. They're going to have more shows coming up, so you'll learn about them. You'll also find a story, some hard news, on Spring Hill. They just opened up a new way around Buckner Lane in Spring Hill, and also a story. It's an interesting. It's not much, but every little bit
of help up there, buddy.
No doubt. And then a story on the Murray County Republican reorganization meeting. That's also in there. So all of that's on the front page, and much more inside Main Street Murray, including a story on Spring Hill stormwater rates that they will be looking to raise for the first time since 2009. So plenty to get in there.
Sounds like y'all got a lot too. Yeah.
We've got a lot going on. So what's in your paper this week, Scott?
Man, we got a lot too. Jam-packed this week. A lot of really good stories. The first one is, I went last week. There's a gentleman who was killed here, murdered here 2 years ago. His name's Jim Grimes.
Spring Hill.
James Grimes,
so Jim was a big member of the Spring Hill Chamber of Commerce. He and his wife Dawn owned Auto Body Advantage. So this is one of the stories that really, goes.
It turned out to be a really good story. I went out last Wednesday, was the 2-year anniversary of James's death and his murder, and went out there for a service that they had at their house, and got to find first time I got to meet Dawn, and was out there for that service. It was very touching, and it turned into a really good story. So that's on the top of the front page this week. It talks about the fact that the crime has not been solved, but it's also about the journey of a family in the loss of a man, and how his faith played a role in them going through the process of grieving. So it's a really good story. I don't always call stories good, especially the ones I write, but this one kind of wrote itself. So it's a really good story. The commission, I talked last week, they filled a vacant seat on the commission. Tammy Mathis was named the District 7 Commissioner. Vicky, the Vicky Garland powwow, I've got a interview coming up with Peggy Tatum. She spent some time with me down at the Trail of Tears Center, which I will make one of these days. I'm going to make it a feature of its own. But this is the Vicky Garland powwow, which is this weekend. So Peggy tells us all about that. Coming up next week, right here on the Pulaski Square, is the 2nd annual Rally for Christ. That's coming up. There's a lot going on. There's some information in the paper on that. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. We've got that in there. Hey, and by the way, there's a lot going on in the paper, so I'm about to run out of time. I know you're about to die because I'm running over. But just want to tell everybody the General Sessions Court docket is back in the Pulaski Citizen. So that ought to make a lot of people happy. They like to see that court docket. We had taken it out at one point. Now that we're back and we've got everything rolling again, we're able to get it back in there. So the docket's back.
That's huge.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Exciting news for a lot of folks.
That's the biggest news of the week. Right
it very well may be. Hey, make sure to check it to make sure you're not on it, because you don't want to miss
That's exactly right. That and the obits, right?
That's the two places you want to check and make sure you're not.
That's exactly right.
Again, we've got a great show. Of course, we'll have sports a little bit later, and we'll also have the weather coming up. Right after this is a visit with Chaz, the mayor of Columbia. So stick around on Mornings on Main Street, southern Middle Tennessee. We'll be right back after this.
Having a good confident smile and being able to portray that positivity to others is really helpful.
A professional family atmosphere is what we get every time we come here.
Our hygienists do a better job at kind of assessing mouths and coming up with plans than most dentists do.
They're very kind and they're very aware of other people.
I think if there's things that I would want you to leave here with, I want you to feel like you were heard, that we listened to you, and I want you to feel like that your concerns were addressed.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Welcome back into Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. This is Mayor's Corner, and I am joined by Columbia Mayor Chaz Mulder. What's going on, man?
Chris, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me today.
Look, it's a lot of fun. We're getting a chance to kind of spread our wings a little bit down here in Maury County and in Giles County with this new show, and we've definitely had a lot of fun with it. So obviously, showing off the world of Pulaski and Columbia and Spring Hill and parts unknown in both of our counties, but sitting in the county seat today of Maury County. Tell us what's going on in the city of Columbia. What are some things you guys are working on?
Well, I'm happy to talk about the city of Columbia anytime and all the time. I'm glad to know that you're venturing into Pulaski, and make sure when you're down there you tell my good friend, the new mayor, J.J. Brindley, I said hello. J.J. is a good buddy of mine, and I was real pleased to see that he's now serving as the mayor of Pulaski. Columbia has so much going on, a lot of activity. We've had a really good entry into the spring season. Beginning, of course, with Mule Day, which was just a very big success for our community. That event is such a collaborative event that we participate in. Obviously, Columbia Police Department being sort of ahead of the public safety piece of that, but the Sheriff's Department and our Fire and Rescue and Highway Patrol. There's so many different partners that make that event safe and successful, and I think safe and successful it was this year. A lot of momentum. You know, Chris, I walk around on an event like Mule Day, or a couple weeks ago when Blue 32 had their big pickin' party and Cars on Coffee, and literally downtown Columbia is just full of momentum. It's full of positivity and full of a lot of things happening in a city that is moving forward in a positive direction, and that's what I think we are right now.
When you and I talked, I guess about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, about one of the things that you guys are really focusing on is trying to lure a hotel downtown. And that's one of the reasons why, because there are so many events all the time happening here. And it would be great if folks could, walk out of their hotel room and be right in the middle of things.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because you're right. We as a city sort of anticipated or just felt like there was a need for a hotel in Columbia's sort of inner core. But we had nothing to really base that on. So we have a retail strategies group that assists us in many things on recruitment of retail and commercial businesses. And we asked them to provide a focus on hotel and a need for a hotel in the city of Columbia. And of course, we know, Chris, that Columbia does have many hotel options. Primarily, our options are located out at the interstate. Several hotels out there. In fact, I believe a new one is under construction now. There have been several come online lately, and those are good. Those serve a valid purpose. And to a large extent, they're utilized by folks who are touring and visiting Columbia. But we also believe that there should be a hotel more in the inner core of Columbia. So when folks come to Columbia to visit, they overnight in sort of the center of our city, so that they go to our restaurants here, or they participate in other small businesses here, instead of being out at the interstate or even going to Spring Hill and taking their time and money there. So this study showed that our instincts were right and that we do have a need. And also showed sort of what our capacity is and then the kind of hotel that we need. And so we've been able already to have several conversations with many developers who have seen and heard about it. having some direct conversations now that I'm hopeful will lead to something. Because at the end of the day, we have a lot of visitors that come to our city. We have a lot of businesses that have conferences that need places for their visitors to stay. And so the hotel would help from a tourism perspective, but I think it would also help with our business community and just, folks who may have family that are visiting that might not be able to stay at their house. Having a hotel that's, 5 minutes away versus 15 minutes down the road, I think is something that really everybody will appreciate. So I'm hopeful for that to come to fruition.
And speaking of industry, the growth that the city is seeing is almost unprecedented. And a lot of that is because of the work that you and folks at the county commission have been able to put into bringing large corporations into the city. And it's a huge, huge deal.
Well, I would say a couple things about that. First of all, I believe that the reason that Columbia was sort of poised for this moment of growth is because over the last 40 years or so, we've had leadership within our community that has really planned for the future. And so my objective is that I want whoever the mayor is 40 years from now to be able to say, you know what, that mayor 40 years ago and that city council 40 years ago, they helped prepare us for the moment that we're now in, because we really felt as though we were prepared for this moment. And so we had the ability from an infrastructure perspective to do some of the things that you're seeing. I think you're starting to see some stabilization in that sort of peak unprecedented growth. The market, of course, dictates that quite a bit. I think some projects are also getting a little bit closer scrutiny before approval than maybe they would have received 5 to 10 years ago when you were just happy to have a project come in the door. Now, you're able to get a little bit more critical about the project, and that's how growth evolves in the positive direction. And so we're working on several things now, speaking of what's going on in Columbia, to make sure that we're preparing for the next moment of growth, including our wastewater treatment plant that will allow for the next 50 years of wastewater needs to at this current level of growth to continue on. That will be about a $60 million project. It'll be the largest expenditure in city history, but that's something that is planning for the future. Columbia Power and Water, as you probably know, is preparing for a water treatment plant expansion that will allow their capacity to significantly increase to allow for the growth. So those are the two water needs that are being addressed. And then other things such as, making sure that we're keeping up with our roads that we can control. So there's a lot of things that are happening that are, planning for the future in a responsible way while also making sure we maintain what we have now.
And that is the most important thing, planning for the future, because we've seen, just Murray County, Williamson County, and now it's getting into, Marshall County and Lawrence County, and a lot of these places are not as prepared as Columbia has been. So you guys have done a great job, and obviously you kind of can become a model for those places to say, hey, let's do what, let's try to take something from what Columbia did and prepare for our future. And so,
there's a lot of good things happening in Columbia, and I would encourage your listeners and watchers to come down and take a look. One final thing I'll point out that right now in downtown Columbia, we are looking at a large-scale residential project that will bring over 350 residential units, higher-end apartment units in downtown Columbia, which is something that we've never experienced in our downtown market, having such residential density. And so that amount of residential density will allow our downtown to continue to flourish. Of course, this is coming at the same time as our downtown will evolve a little bit as the county has moved the courthouse down to the old Daily Herald site. So that apartment complex will be coming online around the same time that the courthouse will be in operation. So really good timing, actually. But those are the kind of things, seeing downtown density like that in Columbia, we've never seen that before in our community. And it'll really enhance the downtown experience for everyone, because downtown will now have new consumers to feed and to outfit and to allow them to have shopping. So we're excited about that as well.
That's not something you see in these type of communities a lot.
That's right.
It's just, at the suburban way out communities. Right. So that is exciting.
We're excited about it.
That is super cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to getting back with you here soon. We will certainly talk to you again and get an update about what's going on in Columbia next time. But until then, stay tuned. We've got more on Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee, right after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
All right, welcome in, guys. Scott Stewart here with Peggy Tatum. Peggy is with the Giles County Trail of Tears. And we are extremely proud to have the Giles County Trail of Tears Memorial here in Pulaski. And really, Peggy, just as amazing as this, what you have in this building is, one of my favorite things is this building, because just the story of how it got down here, which we're not talking about today. I promise Peggy that I'm going to come back and do a tour of this building one day. That's not what we're here to talk about, but I can't ever get in here without talking about the fact that it's pretty amazing how this building got down here and how it became the interpretive center. So otherwise, we'll just move on because we got something to talk about that's even more exciting than this, because it's the powwow.
Yes, Scott, and this is the second annual Vicky Garland Memorial Powwow that we've had. Now, we've had about 4 or 5 celebrations here around the memorial in Pulaski, but the last one we had, we weren't able to fit as many vendors as wanted to come, so we decided to move the venue to the larger Giles County Agri Park. It's about 4 miles south of town, so that we could accommodate more vendors, because everybody comes to see those Native American vendors. They like the skins and the crafts that they do. Like you see here behind us, a representation of these 7 clans of the Cherokee Society.
Right.
So we moved it to the bigger venue, the 40-acre park south of town, and that worked really well for us last year. Now, I know you want to ask, why is it named the Memorial?
The Vicky Garland Memorial.
Vicky Garland Memorial
Powwow.
Annual Powwow. Well, Vicky Garland was our Cherokee board member for about 25 years.
Okay.
She was from Lawrence County, but she worked extensively here in Giles County and even with people in Washington, D.C. with the National Park Service, and helped in mapping the actual Trail of Tears. You know, in 1987, they decided they were going to map the trails through the southeast.
Right.
So, long about 99, she was helping the National Park Service map the trails through Giles and Lawrence County, and she was our board member. So she was an integral part of the board and the founders of getting this memorial going.
Okay.
So she passed away. She contracted COVID in 2020, and she passed away in 2021. So when she did the very next powwow, moving it to the new venue, we decided to ask her family if they would mind if we named the powwow after her.
Got it. Okay. And
Powwow is like a celebration.
Yeah.
It's like a big party. There's dancing, there's drumming, there's vendors, and you just come out and enjoy. It's give the public an opportunity to learn about the culture and the traditions of Native American life.
Right.
So you come out and it's just a big community event, family friendly. If it's a beautiful day, we'll just have a great time. There's going to be food. We're going to have some food vendors there. There's going to be, of course, our fry bread lady is coming to make the traditional Native American fry bread, which you can serve either sweet or savory.
Okay.
There'll be like chili taco to put on top of it, or there'll be like a berry mix of jam and powdered sugar. Kind of like a big elephant ear like you get at the fair.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then we'll have some barbecue and some other things. So
Yeah, it is April the 29th and 30th, coming which is a Friday and Saturday, is that
it's
correct?
a Friday. It's always going to be the last weekend of April.
Okay.
In every year. So it's the 29th and 30th this year, 10 to 5 for the public.
Okay, 10 to 5, yeah, that's when the gates open out at the Agri Park. So, and also want to remind everybody, admission is $5. That's per person. Children under 6 will be free. And as we said, the gates will open on the public from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you want to look up where the Giles County Agri Park is, it is at 2014 Elton Pike. Yeah. So that's how you find out where to go. By the way, the Trail of Tears Memorial will be open.
It will be open for touring both days. Yeah. Excuse me. No. It will be open for touring both days, Saturday and Sunday. So if you pay your admission to the park, you can come by here and tour the Trail of Tears Memorial Interpretive Center and Native American Museum here at 220 Stadium Street, which is right next to
powwow. Because it's an amazing thing. I had never been to one, and went to it last year, as I said, did some video and sat around, and even when I couldn't video the dancers, I sat around and watched them anyway. The dancing's great, the atmosphere is fun. It's just a completely different thing than what we're used to, and I loved it. And I just want to tell everybody, that's my personal just little sales pitch is if you enjoy get stuff outside, it's going to be a great event for you to go by and check, and it's for everybody.
I know my boys, they love the flint napping. They could stay and watch Joe Collins make arrowheads all day long. I mean, it's just like, he's just chipping away at that rock. So it's not only, it's entertaining for the kids, but it's also educational.
Right.
You get to learn a lot of things that you might not learn at other events.
Yeah, GCPTrailoftears.com. That's the website. All kinds of pictures, all kinds of information, GCPTrailoftears.com.
We also have a Facebook page
at
Giles County, Tennessee Trail of Tears, and an Instagram page, Giles CO Trail of Tears, if you want to look at some more pictures. You'll have to come out and see.
Right, and we'll have to say this real quick because you're able to put this on. Obviously, the Giles County Trail of Tears puts this on, but you got some help like Lions Club, maybe a couple others that are helping. We don't want to leave anybody out, but we do want to mention Lions Club. They're making it possible for you guys to have it out there. Do you have anybody else you want to mention?
Well, some of our sponsors this year, Murray Chevrolet, New Tech Color Additives. We've got Charlotte Martin Insurance, Davis and Eastlick. Pulaski Electric System is one of our big sponsors. Progressive Directions, which is formerly the Impact Center here in Pulaski, but they have become a big sponsor. Gerald's Auto Body, Legend Steakhouse, Kathy's Tavern, First Realty Group just became a sponsor today, and Boykins Cleaning and more.
Call somebody, find out more about it, or find out when this facility is open, or just whatever, any information you might need. Call 931-478-0315. Peggy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been so great.
I'm so proud you came by.
And I'll see you on April 29th and 30th.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Welcome back into Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. Time now for our sports update. And with that, we go to Maurice Patton from Main Street Murray. Mo, what's in the paper this week?
Well, this week we have coverage of an article, an event that we discussed last week as John Wild was introduced out at Santa Fe as their new girls basketball coach. We've also got longtime NASCAR driver Sterling Marlin of Spring Hill was announced as one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers recently. Got some coverage of that. That will be celebrated over at Darlington later next month. So big honor for what we've already known in this area, that Spring Hill Sterling Marlin is one of NASCAR's greatest drivers. Also coverage of the final weekend of the Williamson County Girls Flag Football regular season with Summit splitting a pair of games, Independence getting swept as they get ready for postseason play Sunday up at Ravenwood. So we will have coverage of that postseason tournament and more in next week's edition of Main Street Murray and on the website at mainstreetmurray.com. Also coming up, we'll have coverage of Summertown and Columbia Academy softball, two defending state titleists meeting on the diamond here this week. And again, we'll have coverage of that on the website at mainstreetmurray.com and in next week's print edition of Main Street Murray. So be sure to look out for that and more.
All right. We'll go now to Wade Neely down in Pulaski. Wade, what's on the docket for the Pulaski Citizen?
Yeah, kind of like Mo mentioned, coaching circles running, the coaching carousel running rampant in the world of basketball, and that's trickled its way down into Pulaski. After 14 years, Lady Bobcats head coach Missy Harper is stepping down. That search is now underway for a new head coach. So we'll have some details. We have all the details on the resignation of Coach Harper, but we'll have details on the search as that unfolds. Big week last week on the small diamond, as we like to call it. Giles County and Richland softball, two really standout pitching performances as Marie Bodley throws a perfect game for Giles County on Tuesday. Ava Schrader absolutely continuing to tear it up in District 10A. She flirted with her fourth no-hitter of the season as Richland just continues to dominate in their softball district. Also, we had a great story as Giles County Soccer got a nice win versus Marshall County, 6-2 on their senior night last Tuesday. Followed up with a 2-2 draw versus Spring Hill here in Pulaski on Friday. We've got a few other stories that didn't make print this week. You can obviously read those online at PulaskiCitizen.com, kind of keep you up to date on everything in the week that was in and around Giles County. As far as this week goes, we've already had a busy week. Last night, Monday night, Giles County got a big win, 2-0 versus Lewis County. They're going to meet again on Tuesday night. That game will be featured on Pulaski Citizen Live. You can go back and watch or listen to that game, I should say, in its entirety. As soon as we wrap up, yours truly and Mark Mize will have the call there. The UT Southern baseball team will be at home this weekend. As they've qualified for the Mid-South Conference tournament as one of the higher seeds. They'll get to host a couple of games versus Pikeville. First to two wins in that three-game set will go on to Bowling Green for the proper conference championship, which begins next week. So kind of like everybody else, a lot going on in the world of high school and college sports right now, especially as these spring sports come to a close. And again, you can read about it in print in the Pulaski Citizen and read about it online at PulaskiCitizen.com.
Fellas, as always, great stuff. Looking forward to another great week of coverage in print and online. Thanks again, and thank you guys for hanging out with us. The weather comes up right after this on Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. Stick around.
They have always met wildest expectations as far as taking care of my teeth and my health. Teeth health is very important now to your heart. And I told him one day, I said, I'd love to have nice teeth and nice hair. And he said, well, I can take care of the teeth, but I can't take care of the hair. And I said, you can make my teeth? He said, yeah. I said, well, let's go for it. And he did. And I have been tremendously pleased. Dr. Hart, if you need him at night, he's here. This staff here will take care of you 24/7. You don't have to worry about, I can't get a hold of my dentist, my tooth's hurting. No, they will be here for you. And if I could get Dr. Hart to take that same artistry that he has and grow hair, then he would be double rich.
Happy Wednesday. Ben Luna here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with a look at your forecast for today. We're not going to be rain-free, unfortunately. A few light showers will be in place across the mid-state as we head through this morning, and then maybe just a few flying around here toward the midday, but we do get a break across the area before more rain starts to develop and roll in as we look ahead to this evening. And then from there, it's going to be a soggy overnight. Showers and a few rumbles of thunder will continue across the entire area into your Thursday morning. So around this time tomorrow, going to be a wet commute across the area to say the least. And that activity will continue to push through the region during Thursday before things finally briefly improve for a smidgen on Friday before yet another round of rain rolls in for the coming weekend. Here's a look at an on-again, off-again shower-filled forecast for the next few days. Again, spotty showers today, increasing to thunderstorms tomorrow. That ends, for the most part, east of 65 early Friday morning. That's when we'll maintain a rain chance there. That evening, though, I think is okay. And then to Saturday and Sunday, here comes another round of a few showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two. That's a cold front that's going to drop us down in temperatures that you'll feel here Monday into Tuesday of next week. That's a check on your forecast. Have a great day.